Hello. Thank you, Uncle Ron and Aunt Gina. I love you both so much. Thank you for flying here. Oh my God, thanks. I'll take it. Perfect. Thank you so much. And thank you for your amazing introduction. That was unbelievable. I was like sitting there. Like I said, I haven't cried all day until right now, but thank you so much. So good evening. Thank you all for coming. It's good to see you this year. I wasn't here last year. I had pneumonia. So we're back, better than ever. Your commitment and presence tonight means everything to me and to the foundation. Thank you to our all-volunteer wine dinner committee, our board of directors, and all the volunteers who helped put this amazing event together. Let's give it up for everybody. Your support tonight is truly helping us reach teenagers and their families who we never thought possible that we were going to be able to reach. We've actually given our teen support bags to almost 13,000 teenagers who are in every state and DC. And these bags are distributed through our growing network of over 200 hospitals throughout the country. Now, before I fully get into my speech, I want to kick off by giving a toast. So everyone raise your glass. So I will ask that all cancer survivors please stand, if you feel comfortable. And can all the parents of teenagers with cancer please stand? Tonight, we toast to you, to your resilience, to your power, to your strength, to everything you've been through, continue to go through. Cheers. We also want to remember all of those who have passed due to cancer. So we're just going to take a brief moment of silence for a second. Thank you. All right. Well, like I said, it's good to be back. I want to kick off this speech with a funny anecdote. So, as some of you know, and how my aunt and uncle mentioned, my dad and I have picked up running over the last few years. Well, I've picked up running. He's run a couple marathons and a triathlon, so really, he's teaching me how to run. We enjoy running on the trail near our house, and when we run home, we always run kind of up to my car, and every single time, in dad fashion, says, "Wow, look at that nice car, that beautiful car. You've had that for 15 years. Gets you where you need to go, right?" I'm like, yeah. That was the first car that I got at 16 years old. And we laugh, and I'm like, yeah, that's the car. And one day after a run, just like every other run, I have this realization shortly after that I got my car as a sophomore in high school, and I was diagnosed with cancer as a junior. So I've had that car almost as long as I've had cancer, which is like half my lifetime. And putting that into perspective is crazy, right? Like, I've had cancer half my life. Like, that doesn't even seem real. When you're diagnosed with cancer as a teenager, you truly spend the rest of your life having gone through this trauma that affects literally everything that you do. It affects your mental space, your endurance, your relationships, the way you react to a headache or a sore throat. Personally, my lung capacity just isn't great, right? I had an unsuccessful surgery in college. That's why I started oral chemo. Somewhere in my left lung, since they couldn't take it out, like my aunt and uncle mentioned, I've been on oral chemo since October 2024, which is 10 years ago this month, which is also crazy. I still work out every day. It's something I'm really passionate about. My friends will attest. I still run. I make it to the gym. And to every other gym goer, I look just like them, right? But I'm not. And that comparison goes on within my brain and within yours, other survivors, or if you have a chronic illness, I'm sure as well. It makes me think sometimes that I'm not as good as them because I get winded more quickly or I can't be as fast, but in reality, if they were in the same position that I was in or that you were in, would they be as determined or as motivated? If they had been through cancer, would they still show up? Maybe, maybe not. Going through cancer as a teen is such a unique experience because not only can they fully understand what's happening to them as it's happening, but at the same time, they have all these thoughts towards their future and what cancer now will mean for them and for their future. Will I make it to graduation? Will I be able to sustain a job? Will this affect my ability to have kids, to walk, to enjoy life? Personally, when I was 17, I wasn't thinking about kids. Now I do. Now I think about it. Another element that people often forget about is how it completely uproots your life and your development in school, most likely. When you're supposed to be going to a Friday night football game or running to beat the bell to make it to math class, you're traveling to a hospital to meet with some doctor to tell you more rules about what you need to do for your body to survive. I mean, I was literally going to history and then leaving 30 minutes early every day to go get radiation to make sure I was back in time to go to the football game. So, like, you just don't even think that somebody in your class could even potentially be going through something like that. A few years ago, we spoke to a psychosocial provider at the NIH, the National Cancer Institute. She has the opportunity to work with children, teenagers, and young adults who travel from around the globe to enroll in their state-of-the-art clinical trials, some of which are first in humans, which means it's the first time they've tested on humans. She said the travel aspect of it all is something that I also find people forget about. In most cases, the quality of care that a teenager can receive at their local hospital is nowhere near appropriate or specialized enough. They have to go and find better. They have to go elsewhere, far from home, to try to survive. I had to go to Johns Hopkins in Baltimore, shout out table 1. For my kind of cancer, and I'm still treated there to this day. And while Baltimore is, not that far, it's still an hour and a half drive that we take every 6 or so months. And back then, it was way more frequent. I'm thankful that I had wonderful teachers and that I was at, the end of my junior year at the time of diagnosis. But it came with an immense number of challenges, stress, and emotions as I prepared for my senior year. When I got into college, good news. I registered with the Office of Disabilities, which is weird, right? Because cancer isn't a disability. But having that opportunity created an immense sense of safety that I needed at that time. To be closer in proximity to classes, to register early for those classes, or if I needed to make sure I got a more understanding professor. Sometimes I actually forget that my parents even made sure that there was a cancer hospital close to JMU, which there was, that I could go to get blood work done and get scans, which I did. And as I reflect back at all that I just said about my own experience when I was in the hospital, again, like my uncle mentioned, what I did not get at any of the hospitals was a teen support bag. I was actually in the adult cancer ward, so when I was 17, I was doing laps around the hospital floor with people in their 40s and their 50s. There is really little to no direct support for the teenage age group, which is really anything from age 12 to age 19. A child life specialist wrote to us and said that vitamin cancer bags put a laugh or smile on patients' faces, and sometimes that's the first time they've smiled in days. Giving them a bag opens up the door for a discussion about their new diagnosis, what they understand, and how they're handling it. Now, I love this feedback. It's heartwarming to hear the impact of what we're doing. But if you go back to the beginning of that message, they said it was the first time their patient had smiled in days. A few other messages we've received from some parents are, I'm so thankful that you thought of a way to bring joy to my daughter at a time like this. Her face lit up when she saw the contents in the bag. My daughter received her bag and she is obsessed. Lots of people deal with cancer differently, but we have to say that we relate most to your vitamin cancer theme. Knowing others care and want to give us support really does help get us through the tough times. This is why our teen support bag program is so important. This is why we do what we do. If we can provide the first smile that somebody's had in days, or even an ounce of happiness, it's worth it, so worth it. And the last thing a teenager wants to think about is cancer, their next surgery or their next round of treatment, or even their scheduled rest time because they're so drained, right? We want them to know that we're here, that there are people out there who know what they're going through, and that we want to help them. And you can be a part of that tonight. And here is where we ask for your help. Dad.
Thank you. She's my daughter.